Welcome back to this flight to Dusseldorf. We are at runway 21 at the Eindhoven airport and we are ready to take off. Just before we take off, we do one final check. On the MCP, we'll make sure that we've entered an appropriate altitude. In our case, it's 6,000 feet. In the speed window, we'll dial in the V2 speed. The V2 speed is the speed that is followed until acceleration height is reached and the flap retractions begin. To that V2 speed, we're going to add about either 15 or 20 knots. I like to add 20 knots. And the V speed is defined in the CDU and it's based on the aircraft weight. Next, we'll make sure that the flight director is switched on. Always switch on the side of the pilot that will be flying the aircraft. Make sure that the flaps are set to 5 based on what we entered in the CDU and that the aircraft is trimmed accordingly. Last, we'll make sure that the auto throttle is armed and we're ready to release the parking brakes. We're going to advance the throttle level manually to around 40% N1. Once the throttles are stabilized, we are going to press the toggle button. The throttle at this point will automatically be advanced by the auto throttle to the correct N1 output that was calculated in the CDU. At this point, a slight forward pressure on the control column should be maintained. This will allow for the front tire to stay firmly on the ground. The pilot will maintain one hand on the steering column and the other hand on the throttle to be sure to be ready for a rejected takeoff should one be needed. The pilot not flying will call an 80 knots call out and the pilot flying will remove the pressure from the steering column and the steering column will go to a neutral position. After this, the V1 call out will come up on the flight display, on the primary flight display. What this means is that basically the rejected takeoff is not going to be possible anymore. We are committed to fly. Right after that, the rotate call out will come up and the pilot not flying will call that and the pilot will slowly pull back on the stick and start increasing by 2 to 3 degrees per second the aircraft pitch up to about 10 degrees and the plane will begin the takeoff and leave the tarmac. After liftoff, continue to raise the nose smoothly at a rate of about 2 to 3 degrees per second up to 15 degrees or more in order for you to maintain that V2 speed that you were looking for. When positive rate has been achieved, the pilot flying will call gear up and the other pilot and the co-pilot will raise the gear up. At this point, we follow the directions on the flight director. At acceleration height, we'll press N1 on the MCP. And we'll dial in the MCP speed window the climb speed that is reported in the CDU. We also follow the indications for the flaps, and as the FD tells us to start reducing the flaps, we go all the way to flap 0. At this point, it's all about start engaging the different autopilots like VNAV, LNAV, and the actual main autopilot. After takeoff, we go to the climb checklist. So first thing is setting the auto brakes to off, the engine start switches to auto, and when we reach 10,000 feet we also switch the landing lights off. This includes the taxi lights, the runway turn off lights, the wing lights and the logo lights. Seat belts just as needed, and the transition altitude set the altimeter to 29992. At this stage, I guess the boring part of the flight comes. The autopilot is on, and the aircraft will do basically everything itself. You just need to monitor that everything is going according to plan, that the aircraft is following the route that is supposed to be following, by keeping an eye on also on the various stages of the CDU legs. What we will do is pick up this flight again from the initial descent part. I'll make another video similar to this one. I found that just doing commentary, it's easier since there is so many steps that needs to be done during the takeoff. I just can do two pilots' job and commentary at the same time. So please stay tuned for part 3 and final part. Part 3 will end at the landing. We're not going to go all the way to the gate, and we will not be doing like a shutdown of the plane. So thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, consider please to subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video coming soon.